Grand Rising Soul Tribe, Galactic Jedi's Freedom Fighters, welcome to my Earth Alliance update. I want to welcome everyone that is on here. Thank you guys so much for being here. I also wanted to let you guys know that I have a jam-packed, you could say, full of information regarding what's going to be happening, not only here in the States, but also throughout the entire planet. I think that we are well in what is known as phase 4, which is cleaning up all the corruption worldwide. But before I get into the presentation as to what some of the insiders have revealed within the last couple of days, as this thing is going to go deep, they're saying sometime late September, October, you guys better have 2 weeks of food supply because stuff is about to hit the fan very, very soon. I also wanted to extend gratitude to my moderator, Starcadian, who I hope is in the house. And I also wanted to remind you guys that my new course, Ascension 3.0, I only have 2 spots left. They filled up pretty quick since my last announcement 2 nights ago. So this is the next level Ascension. I'm going to go over the operations of the higher chakras and their connections to different levels of reality. I'm going to go over embodying your multidimensionality and anchoring the cosmic self, among many other techniques that I'm about to teach you guys in this course, Next Level Ascension. Again, I have 2 spots left for that course. And for those that have not taken my Ascension Basics 1.0 or even Ascension 2.0, those are really good courses as well, as they are stepping stones into Ascension 3.0. And also, I just wanted to point out that my original course, our Cosmic Origin, is beyond anything that any Earth Terran has ever known of, okay? I go over the entire cosmic infrastructure. I break down the different types of advanced civilizations, their genetic makeup, their operations and function and responsibilities. I go over the entire galactic and cosmic history going back to 950 billion years ago. I explain the 12 major creations. I reveal the Earth Stargate number and much more. So all of those classes are about $100, of course, with the exception of Ascension 3.0, that is $200. And for those that have never taken my courses, these are mind-bending courses, okay, that I should actually be selling for $1,000, but I don't. I like to keep my courses cheap, okay? Each course consists of four weekends, okay? So that's 4 classes per course. And if you're interested, go to my website, or cosmicorigin.com, because classes begin the 19th of September. I believe it's the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st. Now, before I get into what's about to happen this September, okay, the prophecies are about to be fulfilled. As a person who studied the Bible many of times, one thing that really you could say resonated, and one thing that I really remembered was one of the signs of the times before, again, the coming of the Son of Man, and you guys know what that means, right? Christ consciousness being activated worldwide, would be indicated by the Galilee River turning into blood. It's already happening, all right, this month. It has been reported that the Galilee River has literally turned into blood. Not to mention, in the last few days in Antarctica, they have discovered that an ice that is cracking is actually turning into blood as well and flowing into the ocean as blood. So these are all indicators, right? The coming of Three-Eye Atlas. There is no coincidence, guys, that all of this is happening, and it's all going to be culminating sometime between now and the end of the year. So I hope you guys are right with God. I hope you guys are all grounded, and may the force be with you all during these turbulent but yet unprecedented times that we are living in, okay? Furthermore, I also wanted to let you guys know that if you didn't have a chance to watch my Saturday presentation regarding Rh negative blood type, please do. All right. I've noticed that not a lot of people tune into that presentation, but one of the things that I did talk about in that presentation was revealing an excerpt of my next book to come that I haven't yet published regarding the origins of the original humans dating back to 500 million years ago, okay, and the various attempts to corrupt the original bloodline of what is known as the 12-strand DNA Teranusian Orphan race, all right, which are our true ancestors. All right, with that have said, guys, again, for those that are interested in going to the alien event, I will be putting a link in the description at the end of the show. Now I do have a link, and that's going to be taking place September 12th to the 14th in Vegas. I will be speaking, of course, Sunday the 14th in the Seuss room. With nothing else to mention anymore, I think I should get right into it. All right, so as we approach a pivotal point in our collective awakening, the Earth Alliance, a unified coalition of White military forces, awakened world leaders, and military allies, have fully entered a new and uncompromised phase of its global mission. The active deployment of military forces into both the United States and Mexico. Guys, this is expanding way beyond DC, and I'm going to explain why. And I'm also going to explain the history of the criminal networks, as it has always been associated with Luciferian secret societies, okay? So the active deployment of military forces, which is actually going to be going into full force within the next week and a half, both in the United States and in Mexico, with plans to extend these operations across the entire planet, is about to take place, okay? What is unfolding, guys, is not just a military campaign. It is a planetary liberation effort to root out the entire, you could say, deeply embedded criminal systems that have actually governed in secret for generations. Beginning with Chicago, which, according to the White Hats, has always been known as the deep state's urban stronghold. According to high-level leaks from the Department of Homeland Security and military circles, President Trump has authorized a full-scale domestic military intervention in Chicago starting this early September. And this is not just a National Guard deployment or ICE, sweeping the streets. This is an active duty. These are active duty troops, intelligence strike teams, and a multi-agency joint command running out of a hardened bunker outside of Springfield, Illinois. Chicago has become the true battlefield of the American internal war. Trump's war against these global elites, their operatives in Democratic-run cities, and the black budget laboratories of urban control hidden in plain sight. Okay, and for those that didn't know, okay, just like Ukraine has been the epicenter of corruption in not only Europe but worldwide, well, here in the States, Illinois has been weaponized by the cabal, okay? So Chicago hasn't merely been mismanaged. It's been weaponized, and it has been for the last 50 years. For years, intelligence insiders have pointed out that the city is more than a falling urban center. It is a node in the globalist command web that has been concealing three-letter agencies, starting with the C, ending with an A, front operations using migrant communities as shields for drug pipelines, and covert assets. Also, UN-linked transferring corridors, right, where they transfer people, traffic, you guys know what I mean, all right, running through abandoned warehouses and fake shelters. Also, they're going to be cleaning out the biometric testing labs underneath Illinois that were experimenting, get this, on the homeless with facial tracking, neural response systems, and that triggered behavioral programs, okay? Starts with the V. You guys know what I'm talking about. Not to mention, it's also designed to sweep up the sanctuary safe zones for cartel warlords, protected by compromised city officials with direct ties to Soros networks. And so these operations are known within the White Hat military intelligence circles, and Trump has been briefed for many years now about this house cleansing, right? So now he is moving with surgical precision, and sources within the Pentagon have confirmed that the JSOC has activated multiple National Guard units in Illinois, Indiana, and their classified mission includes urban stabilization, high-profile detainments, suppression of foreign intelligence-linked activities. And this isn't about gangs, guys, or tent cities, right? It's about foreign agents that are connected to the CCP operations. Also, this is about scanning out Mossad link contractors and cartel proxies protected by corrupt city leadership and their media shields. And according to the Epoch Times, it turns out that Trump just called out CNN and NBC as here it is right here, I believe. Where is that one? One second, guys. He says, Trump says NBC and ABC should lose license over news coverage. That just came in from the Epoch Times. Okay, furthermore, so this isn't about gangs, right? This is about cleaning up the entire networks that are associated with these international, you could say, agencies. So already military cyber units have been intercepted in Illinois as I speak. 3 sabotage attempts on Illinois' energy infrastructures have already taken place. A shipping container of counterfeit ballots for the 2026 midterms at the port of Chicago, which hasn't even happened yet, but again, they got to it before it happened, and a rogue biotech lab in Inglewood posing as a clinic, caught running illegal gain of function testing on animals, okay? And so this is the covert war on American soil. And so, yes, a few weeks ago, it did begin in DC, and now it is expanding to every city within this nation. Chicago is now next. So the aggressive ICE sweeps in DC, right, 3 weeks ago, were only a preview, you could say. Because in Chicago, guys, Trump is deploying Tier-1 ICE teams with biometric scanners and satellite-backed targeting systems. And their job is to dismantle forged identity networks, protecting foreign agents embedded in churches. Yeah, exactly. Activist fronts and even public libraries. And so military intel has confirmed that certain progressive libraries are data laundering hubs, scraping little one information through fake educational programs and funneling it to private contractors tied to Google and the WEF. Expect dozens of simultaneous raids on NGO fronts, and officially they will be billed as trafficking crackdowns. So in reality, they're actually, you could say, blowtorching technocratic espionage disguised as charity work in Chicago, okay, in Illinois. So Chicago is not just another city. It is a launch pad for deep state operations within U.S. soil. And this is why Chicago was next after D.C., of course. Every major scheme from, ballot harvesting in 2020, right, to sabotaging of the emergency broadcast system over and over and over, to FedNow's rollout has been rooted through encrypted lines in Chicago. So with boots on the ground now, the alliance forces are able to seize all of this. And so servers with 2020 and 2022 election data have been recuperated by the alliance that were in Chicago. Evidence of UN refugee trafficking networks, right? Transferring of people illegally. Financial traits of corrupt city officials linked to offshore accounts. Hidden, one of the main companies that distributed that back in 2020, right? Starts with a P, ends with an R, rhymes with sir. Archives from experimental testing in minority neighborhoods. And so what is the bigger picture here that's happening? Well, this is not martial law, first and foremost. I know some podcasters are saying, and this is mainly coming from leftist, democratic branches. They're trying to paint him as a dictator, but it's really not that, all right? It's not martial law, guys. This is a surgical sovereignty restoration. And Chicago, next to DC, is only the beginning. San Francisco and New York are already named as the next targets. And this is going to go into the late September, early October. But insiders have confirmed that there are 12 cities total, each linked to a specific node of deep state control, finance, tech, pharma, migration, and energy. And the model is very simple for the alliance. Okay? Fast strikes, high level arrest, media containment, and that actually corresponds with what the Epoch Times released today regarding Trump says NBC and ABC should lose licenses over news coverage. This just came in today, August 25th, 2025. Okay. And also neutralization of judicial sabotage. So when Chicago falls, the intelligences will unravel the rest. And so this is a final warning to the traitors, guys. Okay. So to the mayors that have been bought, right, part of the swamp, to the judges, the activists, and media pawns who sold their cities for Soros blood money, their time is up. Okay. The white vans are not conspiracy. There's been many reports that there are a lot of white vans that are actually showing up in certain warehouses all over these cities. I mean, in Chicago. And so the C-130 at, you could say, this is what they call it, all right? The C-130 are not just training exercises, guys. They're part of an operation to really begin cleaning up the criminal network in the States. Now, this is not just going to be happening in the States, okay? Mexico is next, and hence all the other countries. So Trump isn't just enforcing the Constitution against those who hid behind it while building tech prisons for America. Justice is not just coming, it's already here. And so Chicago is the opening move. And so we could say that after Chicago, in the United States, the quiet deployment of military units are being distributed in every major city, which is going to be happening in the course of the next few weeks. But Chicago would be the first week of September. That's when we're going to start seeing things happening. And this is no longer speculation, all right? It is part of what I've been calling now Phase 4 of the Earth Alliance strategic takedown of what appears to be a synarchist system. And these are not just exercises, guys. This is a covert domestic operation to arrest deep state actors embedded in local governments and intelligence agencies and dismantle trafficking and cartel linked networks in urban centers. And I don't know if you guys heard, but Tulsi Gabbard just fired 37 top three-letter agency levels working within the C, if you guys know what I mean, and it's with an A, okay? It's also part of dismantling all the transferring networks, trafficking, cartel link networks in urban cities, securing infrastructure, the infrastructure for the upcoming shift in planetary systems, which is the full-blown implementation of the QFS gold and precious metals back system, not just here in the States, but worldwide, to prepare for the ground, to prepare humanity, rather, for the public disclosures and global awakening. So despite the media silence, the operation is very active. It's very precise, and it's guided by higher intelligences, believe it or not, guys. A lot of this stuff is also being orchestrated by the Galactic Alliance. So it's also been reported that for many, many years, where's my water? I forgot my water. For many, many years, the entire cartel of Mexico has been running the Mexican government, right? This is not new information. I'm sure you guys already have known that. So the mission doesn't just stop in the U.S. It's going beyond the U.S. border. As I speak right now, the Earth Alliance has now began coordinated military operations in Mexico, targeting the entire cartel infrastructure that has held the Mexican government hostage for decades. And these cartels are not merely criminal gangs, guys. They are deep state proxies, okay? One of the things that I did reveal in The Secret Government is the fact that every world mafia, including MS-13 and all the gangs, are all connected to the secret societies, okay? And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So these cartels are not merely criminal gangs, they are deep state proxies. So when we're talking about removing the deep state, we're talking about all of their networks as well, okay? Thank you so much. I get so thirsty. So, and these are deep state proxies that are directly connected to all the global financial institutions, foreign intelligence services, and multinational elites who have used Mexico as a corridor for, are you guys ready for this? Human transferring and organ harvesting, drug distribution and psychological warfare, arms smuggling and black market weapons testing, political manipulation and media control. And so every president, judge, and police force in Mexico, as reported by the Alliance, that dare to challenge these networks faced extreme threats or taken out, you could say. Let's just use that word, okay? But now, with the support of the Earth Alliance forces, the Mexican patriots are rising, and the military assets are moving to liberate key regions from border towns to deep cartel strongholds. And I was informed that the Mexican cartel has no defense against what's coming because we are employing drones, advanced drones, in as far as taking out the Mexican cartel. So this is a worldwide operation. And so what is coming next, so what is occurring in the U.S. and in Mexico, my friends, is only the opening act of a global operation. And again, this is going to proceed into October, and then it's going to go worldwide. By November, it's going to be a worldwide operation, as I will explain in a little bit. And this is all part of Phase 4. So this is going to be happening, according to sources, across South America. All right, they're going after the Colombians. You guys know the Colombian mafia. They're going, of course, across Europe, across Asia, and even Africa, right? Which all contained similar cartels that have infiltrated entire governments in all of these regions. So the banking mafia in Switzerland, right? That is the central hub of the banking mafia. And the city of London is about to be taken out. Organized trafficking rings in Eastern Europe are also going to be taken out. And Southeast Asia. Big Pharma cartels, manipulation of, starts with an H, right? Systems. Starts with an H, ends with an H. Systems in Canada and Australia, right? So all of those people that have been practicing the Pharma, right? Prescribing, chemical stuff to people, they're all going to be exposed. Corporate political collusion in Africa used to extract resources and destabilize nations. So they're all going to be taken out. So the Earth Alliance, with strategic support from white hat militaries, is deploying across the globe covertly and with precision. These operations are designed not to invade nations, my friends, but to liberate them from the internal enemies. And so bear in mind that this is not just a geopolitical operation, guys. It is a spiritual war for the soul of the earth and its people. So the timing of these movements aligns with, of course, celestial events, right? Energetic shifts and ancient prophecies, as indicated by the Sea of Galilee turning red, turning into blood, pointing to a great planetary shift in human consciousness. So as the frequencies of the earth continue to rise, guys, the shadows can no longer be hidden, okay? The Earth Alliance is not only using advanced military tactics given to us by Space Force, but is also working in cooperation with higher dimensional intelligences, the galactics, to ensure that this transition occurs. I can't even say that word. This transition happens with cosmic alignment and divine timing. Okay, so the collapsing of global cartels is imminent, and what this means is that that humanity is going to be witnessing the beginning of the end for the criminal empires that have controlled nations through fear, division, and of course, bloodshed. From Mexico to Europe, from Africa to Asia, These cartels no longer could be hidden, and they are being exposed and dismantled by a force larger than one nation. This is a coalition of 109 countries. This is not just a war of conquest, it is a mission of planetary liberation, okay? You could say that the Earth Alliance is well in the next phase of its divine operation, which I've been calling now phase 4. And I believe that I mentioned that about a month ago. And I did also mention that phase 4 that it takes about 6 months for this phase to reach completion. Well, all of that ties in with what's about to happen, beginning with Chicago in the next week, okay? The Earth Alliance is well in the next phase, guys. Military forces are moving, not just through America, but through Mexico and hence the world. And not as conquerors again, but as liberators, okay? The cartels and the black market systems and the globalist puppets are failing, and they're falling one by one. So we are now living in the last days of what is known as the old order that was ruled by the Roman Empire under the guise of the Roman Catholic Church. All right, plain and simple. A new era of truth, freedom, and cosmic harmony is going to rise as a result of what's happening. So we could say that in this historic turning point of events that is taking place right now for the Earth and for humanity, the Alliance has launched a comprehensive global operation to dismantle the entire synarchist network and their deep-rooted criminal network, or criminals, you could say. This unprecedented mission, which has been decades in the making, right, has now entered its most critical phase, or stage rather, in phase 4. So at the heart of this global effort, of course, is the systematic dismantling of an elite, this hidden power that could actually, this hidden power structure rather, that has infiltrated virtually every nation, guys, okay? From corrupt intelligence agencies to transnational crime syndicates. These networks have long operated under a centralized command structure and shocking efficiency. And for those that have read The Secret Government, Invisible Architects, all roads lead to Rome when it comes to these criminal networks, okay? The central hub of this global control center, of course, kept hidden from the public eye for over 80 years, has been no other than, believe it or not, that's right, Ukraine, okay? It has been the epicenter of global corruption, right, for the world. And in like manner, it's similar to Chicago for the States, okay? So far from the narrative painted by the mainstream media, which of course believes that, free Ukraine, whatever. That's what the mainstream media has said, right? They're innocent. Little do they know. So far from the narrative that was painted by the mainstream media, Ukraine has served as the operational heart of the global synarchist cabal. Since after the Second World War, you could say that there's been an increasingly, especially after the fall of the Soviet Union, where Ukraine became the central node for the WEAPONS labs, where money laundering pipelines were established, illegal arm distribution, and of course, little one transferring routes, and clandestine data farms, okay? All in Ukraine. And of course, all of this was protected by what? A compromised Western, or let's just call them the compromised Western governments, right? And fortified, including us, up until Mr. T came into power in 2016 and now. But yeah, including fortified, of course, or no, let's just say, and protected by NATO, okay? Ukraine did function as a black zone, a sovereign free environment where covert operations could actually be run without impunity, okay? And this is why the Earth Alliance and its aligned leaders have targeted Ukraine not just as a war zone, but as a strategic keystone in dismantling the entire globalist machine. So, contrary to what the media has told us, since 2016, rather 2014, even before Trump became president the first time. The alliance had already arranged for Putin and Trump to work together in the dismantling of this worldwide operation system. Putin was tasked with dismantling the epicenter in Europe, which is Ukraine, and Trump was tasked in dismantling the Western side of things, okay? So right now, as I speak, guys, the alliance has reported that even in Russia, Vladimir Putin is also conducting a mirror operation aligned with the Earth Alliance objectives. They are also cleaning up their criminal networks. And of course, we all know that he was demonized in Western media when, in essence, Mr. Putin has quietly led one of the most sophisticated intelligence offenses in modern history. And that is what? The removing of foreign agents from key sectors of government, cutting off Western-backed financial manipulation, and most importantly, shutting down NATO's proxy operations in Eastern Europe. And that is the truth of the matter. So his primary target, the long-standing synergist networks embedded in Ukraine, and that includes Israeli agents, which he is also getting rid of right now as I speak. Russia's special military operations, initiated in 2022, was never merely about territorial disputes. It was always about, neutralizing the command center of global corruption and severing the operation pipelines, or lifelines rather, of the deep state in Eastern Europe. So it has been revealed back in the States that a synchronized offensive is well underway. Former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard has emerged as a key figure in the domestic operation as well. In a decisive and covert maneuver, Gabbard authorized the arrest of 37 high-level operatives across all three-letter agencies, right? Not just the C, if you know what I mean, the F, the D, and the N, right? All of the three-letter agencies. Individuals deeply embedded within the very agency sworn to protect national security, right? They're all being fired and eliminated as I speak. Right? This is all part of draining the swamp, guys. It's not just the criminal networks. It's also the swamp themselves at the highest level, or the highest echelons of this operation. So their removal marks a massive blow to the internal resistance working against the Earth Alliance from within the U.S. borders. These arrests are part of a broader effort to ultimately reclaim sovereignty at the state level, to dismantle all the shadow government infrastructure and prepare the public for disclosure on a national scale. So this is all part of phase 4, my friends, okay? And as the Earth Alliance pushes deeper into phase 4 of its global liberation plan, U.S. military units are now being quietly deployed across every major city in America. And this movement is not just a show of force, but a strategic measure to ensure order during mass arrest, protecting civilians, and assist with the transition to a post-cabal civilization. Additionally, this phase aligns with energetic shifts happening on a planetary level. All right, I don't know if you guys are keeping track of space weather, but the last CMEs that have been coming in have been record-breaking, comparable to what they call the 1889 Carrington event, which took out the entire telegraph, okay? They're saying it's about 10 times worse than that. So all of this that is happening in phase 4 is part of a larger, you could say, shift in human consciousness that I believe will be happening before the end of this year. So as the Earth ascends, my friends, in consciousness, because spiritually speaking, that's what's happening right now, right? Everything has to come to light. So as the Earth ascends in spiritual consciousness, all the physical systems of control must collapse. And the military deployment is part of a multi-dimensional stabilization protocol, right? For those that have read my book, Our Cosmic Origin, this house cleansing began with Archangel Michael in the highest dimensions and is now taking effect here in the 3D, as Earth is the last battleground for this multidimensional warfare that has been going on for not millions, but billions of years. Okay? Ensuring, of course, what the military is doing right now, it is ensuring that the dismantling of the old world does not planet into further chaos, but instead to facilitate a higher evolutionary leap for humanity. So what we are witnessing is the final chapter, my friends, of a silent global war, a war not just for land or resources, but for the soul of humanity. The Earth Alliance, in coordination with cosmic allies. If you are unaware of who these cosmic allies are, for all my new subscribers, I would suggest to watch all my lives for the last few months. I break down a lot of information that ties what's happening here with what's happening in our galaxy and other realms. So the Earth Alliance, in coordination with cosmic allies and awakened leaders like Putin and Gabbard, and of course, what's his name? Kash Patel, is restoring the truth, balance, and freedom to our entire planet. So the collapsing of Ukraine, as mentioned, right? It's already in progress. That's why those meetings took place 2 weeks ago, right? Now they're going to have a trilateral meeting with the new Zelensky, right? 3.0. The old Zelensky, the second one was taken out. With the collapsing of the epicenter of what they called the central hub, right, Ukraine, this marks the unraveling of an 80-year-old control matrix that was actually initiated by who? The House of Rothschild. So the Synarchist Empire is falling, my friends. What rises in its place will be a civilization rooted in transparency, unity, and cosmic sovereignty. Okay. Now, bear in mind, as revealed in my book, The Secret Government, that throughout recorded history, empires have risen and fallen, right? Wars have been fought and governments have come and gone. Yet behind the scenes, my friends, one constant thing has always persisted, and that is the presence of an organized crime, not as an isolated phenomena, but as a tool of control wielded by hidden power structures. And this structure is known today as the Cabal Network, which is a web of secret societies, elite families, and intelligence-linked organizations working behind the veil of official authority, right? So as you guys know, we've had what is called the visible government, and then we've had the shadow government. And then even within the networks of the shadow government, there's different levels. It's very compartmentalized because above the shadow government, who is controlled by a group of dark magicians and sorcerers, you literally have negative fallen extraterrestrials pulling the strings, okay? And we could actually trace this network, my friends, all the way back to the Roman Empire, and then ultimately all the way back to Babylon, where it originated. So what the mainstream history rarely acknowledges is that all criminal network organizations, from ancient syndicate to modern day cartels, have been strategically connected to these shadow forces used to implement an agenda of global control, destabilization, and enslavement. To give you guys an example, when they supposedly took out JFK Sr., right, in Texas in the 1960s, and for those that have been following me for quite some time, the real one was actually taken away hours before the incident, replaced by a double. So the real JFK Sr. survived, right? Thanks to the triple temporal alliance, Nikola Tesla and John Trump. Again, if you're unfamiliar with these terms, I would suggest to watch all my lives going back to a year and a half ago. So what I was saying is that when they supposedly took out, or they tried taking out JFK Sr., you had all of the network agencies working together, not just the three-letter agency that starts with a C, right? As the order was came from the Black Pope, but you also had the Sicilians and the Italian mafia involved, right? Jack Ruby had a role to play, and Jack Ruby actually sacrificed his life knowing that he had a role to play. Just to give you guys an example, okay? So the roots of this hidden alliance stretch far back into antiquity. This I'm talking about the ancient Brotherhood of the Snake, which was, of course, initiated by no other than Enki Poseidon. So this goes back to to Babylon, to Rome, to Egypt when they infiltrated Egypt, right? These ruling elites have always used what is known as secret priesthoods and mystery schools, well, corrupt mystery school teachings, right? Not all mystery school teachings have been conducted by the Dark Brotherhood, right? Some of them, most of them actually have been used by the Great White Brotherhood in the community of Qumran and the Therapeutae and what we call the Brotherhood of Light. So going back to ancient times, the Luciferian networks have used secret priesthoods and corrupted mystery schools to control knowledge, to control economics and law, okay? And then over time, these occult systems were preserved and weaponized through secret societies, such as the Synagogue of Satan. Well, the Synagogue of Satan was in operation over 2,000 years ago, right? They were the ones that controlled the Roman Empire. They were the ones who controlled the religious organizations of Judea. The Pharisees and the Sadducees were all controlled by the Synagogue of Satan. And that is the reason why they ordered Jesus' death. And of course, in Roman Empire times, and even after the Synagogue of Satan, which is what Jesus called the hidden hand, it's all revealed in my book, The Secret Government, which, by the way, my books are both available on Amazon, guys. If you have not read my books, there's a lot of information there that I could fill in the gaps for you guys. Anyways, the Synagogue of Satan later reorganized as the Roman Empire, or what we call them, the Holy Roman Catholic Church. And then, of course, when the Holy Roman Catholic Church began to lose power because of the Renaissance and the 15th century Reformation, which was initiated by the Knights Templars, who were the rebels, then the Jesuit order came into power in 1501, and then initiated by Ignatius de Loyola, who became the first Black Pope. And ever since then, you could say that the Synagogue of Satan, under new names, has had influence over all monarchies and religious institutions. And so even a branch of the Freemasons that were, of course, infiltrated by the Bavarian Illuminati, which was co-opted, of course, by the Jesuits through Adam Weishaupt, who was a Jesuit priest at Ingolstadt University, right? These groups overall, guys, these groups have served as spiritual and political frameworks through which global influence could be projected behind the curtain of royalty, religion, and law. So as centuries passed, the cabal adapted using organized crime networks as covert extensions of its agencies. So organized crime has never existed independently. That's the point. Organized crime has never existed independently, okay? They have always been the enforcing arm of the cabal going back to Roman and Babylonian times, okay? Whether in the form of the Sicilian mafia nowadays or the Yakuza in Japan, which is the Yakuza Japanese mafia, or the Russian mob groups, or the Chinese trilads, or the South American cartels, these entities have all knowingly or unknowingly, right? Well, I would say that the leaders of these cartels are in cahoots with the secret societies. Of course, you have different levels of the cartels. You have the soldiers that have no clue of who's really running the cartels, right? And how it's really all connected to the shadow government, right? Well, overall, all of these entities, knowingly or unknowingly, have operated under the direction or protection of the Luciferian secret networks. And this is we could say, here's how the connection has worked, okay? Think about it. White powder, right? An illegal DRU, you know what I mean, right? have all been what? Trafficking routes. They've always been protected by intelligent agencies. Think about it, right? When they transfer these, right, the white powder stuff, white snow, illegal stuff from South America to America, it's all controlled by intelligent agencies, right? The three-letter agency that starts with the C was always in cahoots with all of the white snow that came and other stuff, opiates from Asia, all of that stuff that came and flooded the states. It was all run at the highest levels by the three-letter agency. Okay, and that includes all the stuff that was imported from Southeast Asia, the poppies plant, Central America, and Afghanistan. Not to mention, guys, that, right? Arms. Yes, exactly. It's always been, you could say arms dealing is coordinated through both criminal syndicates and defense contractors, keeping conflict zones alive to fuel profit and population control. And not to mention people, right? Human transferring illegally, right? The selling of people. Trafficking, if you guys know what I mean. And this, perhaps the darkest arm of this network, has been something that has been going on for a long time. These transferring rigs, right, trafficking, are often run through what? Politicians, religions, believe it or not, religions. And I'm not just talking about Catholic priests, guys. I'm also talking about a lot of Orthodox, conventional Christian religions that have been corrupted, right? Where at the highest level, the pastors that are running these religions are all in on this, So banks connected to the global cabal have been repeatedly caught laundering billions for cartels as well. And a lot of this ties in with that, the selling of that, right? The selling of that, right? And the selling of people. All roads lead to what? To the banking cartels, when you really think about it. So these criminal networks are not rogue, okay? They are deeply embedded in global governance, serving as unofficial enforcers of cabal rule while keeping populations trapped in cycles of poverty, addiction, fear, and violence. Not to mention, guys, all of the false flags, all of the blackmail, right? Everything that has ever occurred. Waco, Texas, Oklahoma City bombing. They all have one thing in common. They're all connected to the shadow government. So the cabal's control over criminal networks also enables it to carry out, of course, false flag attacks, which destabilize regimes and blackmail public officials into compliance. Many high-profile politicians, judges, CEOs, and celebrities are compromised through connections to these criminal systems, often caught in elite transferring rigs, you know what I mean, or financial fraud, and then controlled through what? Threats or exposure. So these blackmail networks, like those associated with Jeff, right, are not anomalies, right, or Diddy. They are standard operating procedures in the cabal system of control. And I also heard that a lot of these key celebrities that are connected to this, like Oprah Winfrey, is leaving the country now. Well, why do you guys think all these celebrities like Oprah Winfrey and all these other celebrities, why do you think they want to leave the country? Because they want to avoid arrest and they know it's coming. So, but they have nowhere to go because this operation is going to be extending worldwide. The key here to understand, guys, the key here to understanding this web is the intelligence crime alliance that are all connected to not only the three-letter agency here, starts with the C, right? I guess they were known as the counterintelligence, and of course, the Mossad, MI6, and others have long operated hand in glove with criminal organizations. Okay, that's the main thing that I'm trying to make you guys understand right here. So these actions aren't rogue. They are part of the cabal's global government where intelligence, crime, finance, and black magic all converge. Yes, black magic, because like I said, at the highest level of this international synarchy, we have what is known as black magicians or sorcerers who are in tune in cahoots with the Nabu, the negative grays, and of course the Draco. So now, with the activation of the Earth's alliance and the as we are already full in the fourth phase, and the exposure of the Synarchist control networks, these organizations or these criminal operations are being dismantled. Military operations across the US, Mexico, and the globe are targeting not only just visible cartels, but their hidden controllers within secret societies and global institutions. And so, as the cabal structure crumbles, so too will all the organized crime systems that it empowered. And so, organized crime has never been random, all right, or chaotic, or separate from world governance. It has always been an arm of the cabal's shadow empire, used to enforce obedience, generate revenue for secret programs, and destabilize human freedom. From the opium wars of the 1800s, yeah, that's over what, 200 years ago, to today's digital trafficking networks, the pattern is clear, my friends. And now, for the first time in history, due to the prophecies, thank God, the pattern is being broken as the world awakens and the Earth Alliance continues its mission. The veil is lifting, my friends, and the truth about organized crime's true origins is finally coming into the light. We are not just witnessing the end of crime, we are actually witnessing the end of the dark age as we know it. I have no more water. Can I please get more water? Thank you. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, guys, for those that are interested in eliminating all the nanoparticulates, the graphene that was, coursed into people's bodies, there is this amazing product that I've been taking for over 2 years now that a lot of you apparently have been taking now. I've been getting all your emails and the testimonies, all your messages regarding how wonderful this has been in cleaning up people's bodies from not only metals, parasites, radiation, stuff that causes us to get really sick, but it also cleans out the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell. And when that happens, your body's natural healing abilities take effect. Okay, so this product, I always put the link in the description. I don't know if Starcadian is in the house. Maybe he's not in the house today, but I always put the link in the description. So after the show, if you guys are interested in cleaning out your body in preparation for the solar flash.
You're doing a wonderful job.
Oh, thank you. In preparation for the solar flash, this is it. This is a good product. In either case, guys, I am excited. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like everything that we've all been waiting for is now going to be coming to fruition. And these are operations that apparently started in DC, 3 weeks ago, right? When we make the announcement, and are now extending to Chicago, and then I heard over 47 cities across the nation. And these are mainly cities that are heavily, you could say, heavily run by criminal networks. Where am I? There I am. I'm trying to open up my phone so I could hear so that I could answer questions. All right, here I am. All right, I want to give some shout outs. I see Meg is in the house. Jeff is in the house. Lee Star is in the house. Cosmic Zeal, Project Skyfalls, Aaron, Diane77, Alvin Balingslia, Darcy's in the house, Julie Ben, William Ryan, Bobby Vineyard, welcome. I'm trying to call out people that I've never called out before. Neo, Maria Sinclair, Lily, Jill Hunt, Baby Blue Notes, MJF, L.W. I love that. You guys have amazing names. And all 2,700 freedom fighters, star seeds, galactic Jedis that are in the house. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful evening. You guys know the drill. Make sure your questions are in capital letters so that I could bypass the chat. Okay. No, it's not wrong. I completely know what you mean. Wolfie. Wolfie, I can't say that here, but I completely know what you mean. Frank Mass is in the house. He says, I'm in the house. Hi, Frank. Thank you for being here. I see a lot of you guys are like, I'm in the house. I'm in the house. That is so cool. Deborah Wee says, thank you, Ishmael, for the intel. You are so welcome. It is a grand pleasure to serve in these times that we're living in. Yes, as reminded by our galactic Jedi brother here, Aaron H. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, I have over 2,600 people in the house. It would be great if I got 2,600 likes right now. That would be wonderful. Hi, Ishmael. Can you give us a short overview of your path to your current role? Really quick, this is a question from Wesley Swy. Okay, so as a cosmic ambassador to the Earth, I actually work with the Galactics. I've been working with the Galactic Alliance, used to be the Galactic Federation of Worlds, ever since I was 21, 22 years old. So it's been a while now where I've been not only connecting with my galactic self to get transmissions, which enabled me to write my groundbreaking work, Our Cosmic Origin, revealing the galactic history back to the Earth, way beyond Atlantis and Lemuria. But up to date, I've been working with Commander Valiant Thor, who's been my main source of information. So I am part of the liaison committee, serving with Commander Valiant Thor, working with the Galactic Alliance in a human body, right? As I am also operating on a ship with the Y hats. So I'm not necessarily Earth Alliance. I'm more like Galactic Alliance, right? But working with the Earth Alliance, so that makes any sense. So that's my role. That's my role in the work that I've been doing. Can you compare the Flash with Ascension? Is asking Adrian Cross. Well, what religious texts consider the harvest, or what some Christians call the rapture, is all it's all kind of related to the ascension, you could say, and the harvest, the splitting of worlds, right? The new earth going into one direction, the technocratic dystopia going into another direction. So it's all one and the same, guys. It's all one and the same. Shauna, thank you so much for the super chat. She says, thanks to you and Monica for always keeping us updated. You are so welcome, my sister. I also have another super chat from Nathan Taylor. So you said on Saturday that RH negative is the most powerful. Yes, that is correct, because they are part of the galactic royal blood that can be traceable all the way to the alliance that took place between the Lyrants, or the the 12 Elohim houses of Lyra, which were later translated as the tribes of Israel, the original tribes rather, and the Syrian High Council. So yes, is the most powerful. So where do the other rank in terms of power? Say they are all 5D, such as O blood, type or B, and please do positive and negative, etc. Okay, so first of all, I want to clarify something regarding what I talked about in the last presentation. Rh positive only indicates that about 3% of your full genetic material is related to the primitive, the Homo erectus, thanks to the genetic downgrade that Enki conducted in Atlantean times. Okay, 97% of your DNA is still galactic, guys. We're still a potpourri and mixture of different celestial Adamic races. All right. So, by virtue of that, Rh positive here on this planet and Rh negative are both considered royal to the cosmic and galactic community because we are the end result of different genetic programs that have been conducted for millions of years now coming into fruition. Okay, so whether you are Rh positive or Rh negative, you're still in a human avatar that has the potential to surpass all the extraterrestrials that have ever existed in the history of the multiverse. Okay, however, for those that are Rh negative, you are the cream of the crop. Okay, and it doesn't mean that you're superior. All it means is that because you are born into an Rh negative blood type, your lineage was undiluted and unbroken, and it was preserved and traced all the way to the original custodians and guardians of Atlantis, and even furthermore, traceable all the way to the first civilizations going back to Lyra. Okay, that's all it means. Okay, so overall, if you are an old soul, if you are part of the Starseed Envoy program, that means that you are going to manifest supernatural powers when the other 97% of your genetic material comes back online. All right. The Earth Terrans, who are not the star people on the Earth, which is the majority of humans, they're only going to be advancing in increments. They're not going to have any superpowers. So yes, all the star seeds, whether they are Rh positive or Rh negative, are going to be endowed with these supernatural abilities upon the solar flash. Okay. But those that are Rh negative are going to be the most powerful ones. So there are going to be different levels of enacting supernatural power. All right. And those are also going to be the ones that are going to be tasked with the responsibility of being the guardians of the new era that we're entering, not just for the Earth, but a new era that we're going to be fostering in for the entire galactic and cosmic community. All right. So I just wanted to make that clarification. Thank you, Nathan Taylor. That was an awesome question, brother. Again, guys, my September classes and only 2 seats left for my new class, Ascension 3.0, is available through my website, ourcosmicorigin.com. All right. Classes start September 19th, 20th, and the 21st. Make sure you guys sign up right away because they do fill up pretty quick. That's right. Teresa Cassier reminds us that everyone plays an important role. And that's why you all volunteer to come back, all right, for the old souls. And I am sure that about 99.9 of my viewers and subscribers are old souls, all right? I don't think Earth Terrans subscribe to me because this is way over their head, right? Not to mention, a lot of the Earth Terrans are still programmed. I don't want to say they're unawakened. All right. I don't want to call them normies anymore. They're just unawakened. I don't think I have normies. I mean, unawakened, unawakened peeps in my channel. All right. This information wouldn't resonate with them. Will the RV happen in 2025? Well, if everything continues to unfold as we are now in phase 4, and as indicated in this presentation, yes, it seems like after they go after the entire international network, including all the deep state in every country, that's when the GCR will be rolled out.
Can I give an update about all that? Because,
sure. Hope is real. You're next. I know you gave me a super chat. You're next.
Okay, I have some good news and some not so good news. So basically, because there's troops and soldiers that are still in Iraq, the Iraqi dinar is what starts off the whole process of the currency revaluation. I got word over the weekend that because of the soldiers still being in Iraq, that they could postpone the IQD from being revalued, which sets it all off for 1.5 years. Now that's the bad news. The good news is that even that could not take down the other currencies, which includes the Zim, the Dong, the Venezuelan Bolivar. So for those that are tier 4 that are currency holders, it could be a little bit more time. There's an expectation to get notified around the 29th or the 30th of this month. Also, we're seeing some good signs that the old Federal Reserve is dying. The Federal Reserve Bank is closed. This is imminent. Also, it was logged by Mr. Poole on X that on Friday, August 5th, Trump and Putin triggered GESARA, the global financial system that is dismantling deep state debt, fraud, and endless war. And another update I received is that on Sunday, the 17th of August, the global quantum financial system went live on quantum light channels that cannot be hacked, traced, or manipulated. The good news is the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, has resigned from the Federal Reserve. And it is even shown on Google Maps that the Federal Reserve is permanently closed. So I hope that this is not another 1.5 years, but according to Sandy Ingram, it's not good. Let's just hope that whatever that news was misdirection on purpose for the dark ones.
Thank you for sharing that. So as you guys know, that the entire Federal Reserve is being dismantled, according to what she just said. And yeah, Trump just fired a lot of the people that are working within the Federal Reserve. So that's really cool. That means that we are literally returning back to a U.S. Treasury. Now, I do have a super chat from Hope is Real. Thank you so much, sister. She says, what do you think of blood transfusion? And what about those who are Rh negative, but are not awake and don't care? Good question, because I've stumbled upon some people that are Rh negative and they just don't care. Thank you for that water. Taking good medication for the heart here. So to answer your question, a blood transfusion is not a good thing. Let me tell you why. Okay, first of all, it is known that when you take other people's blood, you end up inheriting, believe it or not, their genetic blueprint, their energetic signature. You end up having memories that they have, okay? Their blood, okay, blood is very sacred, first of all. Everybody has a unique energetic signature that is being expressed through the blood. So blood transfusions are not recommended, guys, right? I don't even know why they do that. So in that regard, no. To answer your question, sister, it is not wise to take another person's blood, because if that person has demonic entities, right, negative attachments, if that person has bad addictions like alcoholism, DRUGS use, those temptations are going to go inside you, and you're going to be inheriting those demons. Okay, you don't want that. Now, as far as Rh negative peeps that are still asleep, it is believed that during the first solar flash, they will be waking up. Okay, they have to wake up, because when their dormant DNA comes back online, they're going to have these abilities, and they need to learn how to use those in a responsible manner. Okay, so yeah, they will be waking up very, very soon. Thank you for those that are sending Zelle through my email. Thank you so much. Neil Wolfie just received it. Susan K. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot, actually, especially as I approach the end of the month. All right, cool. So let's continue here with the questions. All right, so Infinite Healing Lights is saying that the soldiers have already started leaving Iraq. It is the latest news. Good to know. Good to know. Is a royal bloodline carried only via generational blood? Yes, on both fronts, both for the forces of light through the bloodline of King David and Solomon and Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and the forces of darkness through the bloodline of Nimrod and Cain. So that is correct. Or can the soul imprint on the blood when a soul is born? There is a connection, okay? Again, everybody's blood is unique, and ultimately, your blood connects you to all your ancestors. You're connected, everyone is connected to all of their ancestors, which are all part of your oversoul. As we ascend to the 12th dimension, all of those incarnations, all of those ancestors that led to you are all going to collapse into one big entity eventually. So it's all one and the same. All right. So, and then the second part of the question, can the soul imprint on the blood? Well, the blood in your veins is actually an extension of your energetic signature, which is connected to your spirit and your soul. But both groups, both the elites, the Dark Brotherhood, right? The Nimrod bloodline, as I call it in my book, The Secret Government, they have always preserved their RH negative, which could be traceable to the royal house of what? Draco, right? To Enki, to Belial of Babylon. Who is the son of Enki? Belial is Marduk, by the way. And then in terms of the Brotherhood of Light, the Order of Melchizedek, right? The Great White Brotherhood of and Sisterhood of Light. That bloodline is also Rh negative. So there are two types of Rh negative. One is traceable back to the royal house of Draco, which is not really royal. I don't know why they call it that, right? The White Siakars. And the other one is traceable to the royal house of Lyra and the Anuhasi. That was established in Sirius B in response to the first galactic war that took place 500 million years ago in Lyra. Again, if you're unfamiliar with this history, guys, take my course, our Cosmic Origin, guys. It is mind-bending, guys. I take your mind beyond this world. We go into all kinds of cosmic information. Thank you for the water, by the way. I don't know what it is, but I am so thirsty tonight. Do you teach how to harness your multidimensional abilities? Absolutely, yes. In Ascension Basics, I teach you guys pretty much the fundamentals, how to go from 3D to 5D to 4D to 5D, and the different characteristics of each level. I teach you guys about enlightenment, the path of self-realization, how to cultivate the inner self, the difference between the eternal awareness and external awareness. I mean, it goes into that. Ascension 2.0, I teach you how to connect to the quantum field. I teach you how to multi-dimensional integrate through the quantum field meditation with different aspects of yourself. I teach you how to activate the light body. I teach you how to become a master of time and how to navigate the mechanics of time through the quantum field. And of course, I teach you about becoming a co-creator and one with the universal architect. And now in Ascension 3.0, that is next level ascension. That is, wow. That is teaching you how to embody your cosmic self, right? So if you are all new to this, I would start with Ascension Basics, and then Ascension 2.0, and then Ascension 3.0, which was just released 2 days ago. So my website, ourcosmicorigin.com. That's how you're able to access the courses. Thank you so much, Mika, for your super chat. I appreciate that. She says, here, I'll just go ahead and pin it here. Mika says, if I'm holding XRP, should I try to make money profit now, or should I hold it until a certain time?
It's down right now, but in the
She knows more about XRP than I do. Come on, come tell them what you.
well, it's down right now, which it's a good time to buy it. But if you already have it, then hold it and keep it because it's supposed to go up about 10 times really, really soon.
Okay. Is there a sign I should be waiting for? So there you guys go. It's a perfect time to invest in XRP because very soon it's going to be skyrocketing, especially with all the operations that are about to take place. Let's see. Another super chat from Nathan Taylor. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. So do the ET don't use money? No, ETs don't use money. So why do they use as money? So why do they use as money? No. The extraterrestrial civilizations from dimensions 5, 6, 7, and up do not use any money. Okay, only level 1 type interplanetary civilizations, which is the first level advanced space age era. Only they use a type of quantum financial system. And again, this is one of the things that I talked about when I first came into the scene, that the quantum financial system, which is a consciousness-based financial system, right, is only applicable within the first level, or with what is called level 1 interplanetary civilizations. So this is a type of system that is being employed across many different worlds that are part of the beginning stages of space travel, right? As we grow spiritually and we advance from carbon-based genetics to more crystalline-based genetics, money, as we know it, including the QFS, becomes obsolete, all right? There is a level of sentiency, my friends, where there is no more governments, there is no more money, because at that point, every being is living according to the principles of the Christ and is so spiritually advanced with abilities where they are capable of manifesting anything they need, right, using the organic technology at the speed of light. And that's where we're all heading in the positive ascending timeline. Good questions. Ishmael, how do you regulate your vibrational frequency? This is a question from Indigo68. All right, he's asking me, how do you regulate your vibrational frequencies? Well, through meditation. And for all my students that have taken my courses, I teach you the most effective techniques in learning how to control your thoughts, which in turn, it enables you to learn how to what? Maintain a high frequency throughout the day, all right? Again, guys, my courses is not just me lecturing. It's me teaching you guys real techniques in real time. If incorporated, will give you guys results, okay? So to answer your question, in order to regulate your vibrational frequency, not only do you have to meditate, but you also have to what? Be very careful with what you allow to be rented in your or space in your head, right? Be very careful with what you think, what you feed your mind. That's why I stay away from doomsday mongering. And be also careful with how you feel. Your thoughts and your emotions on a daily basis are literally, by default, co-creating your reality. So it's always best to what? Create the best outcome through highly elevated thoughts and positive emotions. And then the next part of your question. So there is a way to communicate with your star family. And again, this is a technique that I teach my students in the second course, which is Ascension 2.0. Let's see what else. So they cannot stay on Earth. All right, let's continue here. And you know, guys, I do appreciate the super chats. Even though I only get 70%, it's still something. Okay, so thank you so much for those that are offering super chats. I appreciate that. And for those that don't have Zelle, I do have a mailing address. If you guys want to help my cause, It is 1771 West State Route 89A, Suite B, Box 3015, Sedona, Arizona, zip code 86336. That is my mailing address for those that don't have Zelle. Or for those that just want to send me anything. I love all the cards that I get, all the letters, guys. I read them all. And more than half the time, it puts me to tears. You guys are just the gratitude that comes from you guys for my intel, for the work that I do, for the the knowledge that I present, really tells me and validates that I am actually fulfilling my destiny during these days. So thank you so much for that, guys. Ishmael, are you into swords? Yes, I am. And in fact, I am an avid sword fighter, guys. All right. I know how to swing swords. I know how to move. I also know martial arts. And this is the thing, I've never taken martial arts. Never, well, not in this incarnation, but as a warrior, as a Lyran warrior, as a lion man, I'm very, you could say, advanced within the skills of martial arts and sword fighting. A true Jedi. So yes, I know how to sword fight. And I know how to swing the swords like the Jedis. Actually, I don't have a sword, but one of these days I'm actually going to get a couple of kundu sticks and I'm going to do a little swinging of the swords in front of you guys. And I also like to play the piano, by the way. And I don't even know how to read and write music. I just play by ear. So that's just what I like to do. That's part of my passion.
Okay, here it is.
Oh, you have a sword?
Of course I do.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to swing that here. I don't have enough space, but da-da-da-da. This is a real sword, so I have to be careful. I don't, cut my books open or take down my my lion. Let's see if you guys could see. Yeah, I can't really swing it here much, hon. This is a real sword, and I don't want to break things here. Let me put it back. Thank you for bringing it, though. But yeah, this is like a true samurai sword. Here you go. Thank you for bringing it. But one of these days, once we clear up all these what it's left of these boxes, I could actually do a little presentation for the Galactic Jedis and swing the swords. Okay, let's continue with the super chat. Thank you so much for your super chat, Nathan Taylor. Nathan Taylor is asking me, if you have a person who has a baby with someone who is Rh negative, is there a chance that the baby they get Rh negative? Yeah. But I do know that if the mother is Rh positive and the baby is Rh negative, the mother has to take the Rogaine shot in order to give birth to that baby. Or is it the other way around? No. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. The mother is Rh negative and the baby's Rh positive. Then the mother has to take the Rogaine shot in order to not eliminate the fetus, if you know what I mean. Okay, so that is correct. And just to let you guys know, you don't have to invest in anything. All right. I do read the comments, and some people ask me, well, do I have to get XRP to be part of the quantum financial system? And the answer to that is no. When the GCR takes place and the redistribution of the world's wealth comes back to the people, everyone that is a good person on the earth who is going to be connected via consciousness to the quantum financial system, which is consciousness based, by the way, will be provided for and will have abundance. Okay. Everyone's going to have abundance. Whether you invested in XRP, whether you have gold or silver, it doesn't matter. Everyone will be abundant. As long as they are good, all right, they will be abundant. Because the quantum financial system is a living organic technology that is actually connected to the quantum freedom grid, right? And it's going to be reading your energy. So if you are a good person, you're going to have abundance. If you're not a good person, you're not going to have anything. What about our birth certificates? Well, Diana 77, as you know, according to maritime law, the birth certificates were designed to what? To make you a number in the system. All that will be abolished, by the way. All that will be abolished. Not just debt forgiveness, but even the birth certificates will be abolished. Thank you so much, Carol Valponi, for the Zell, and of course, Margaret E. I appreciate that. All right, let's continue with Q&A. There's still 2 spots for the Ascension 3.0 class, guys. Only one of them was fully booked right when I released it, but there is I think 1 or 2 seats left in Ascension 3.0 for those that are interested. On the 19th of September, make sure you go to my website, ourcosmicorigin.com, so that you could be the first to learn how to embody your cosmic self and much more. I'm going to go over the different chakras beyond the 7. This is going to go deep, guys. This is going to go deep. Good night, Shauna. Shauna says, have a good night, y'all. I'm getting my little ones to sleep. Blessings to each of you always. Pleasant dreams, Shauna, and thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to watch this on the replay. This is a question from Elena S. She's asking, do you think if there's any difference between a person with no Rh negative factor, like if you don't have the rhesus monkey protein, is that what you're referring to? And someone who has Rh negative as a recessive gene? I don't understand that question, Elena. Put it this way: everybody on this planet is either Rh positive, which means you have 3% of your genetic material is related to the primitives, right? Homo erectus, thanks to Enki. And the other percentage, which is like 13% of the population, don't have that. So they're Rh negative, right? However, it was brought to my attention that there is this only, I think 3% of the population are Rh null, which is they're neither negative or positive. Now I could do a whole presentation on Rh null. What's that?
Do you want to show this?
Oh, I did talk about how.
Yeah, you want to show it?
I did talk about how the Galilee Sea has turned to red. Look, that's the Galilee Sea where Jesus the Christ was baptized 2,000 years ago. This month, guys, the Galilean Sea has turned to blood. What does that tell you, guys? Oh. These are the signs of the times. And then also in Antarctica, right? There is a iceberg that is flowing into the ocean, and it's red. Look, like blood. It is red like blood. It's very hard to see with the light. But thank you for reminding us that we are living in the times, that it's not the end of the world, right? It's not the end of the world. It is the end of the world or the system as we know it and the beginning of a better world, right? As we go into the millennium. So don't think, oh, God, it's the end of the world. No, guys. The only people that have anything to fear or that should be fearing are the wicked, right? The wicked, they're going to meet their maker very, very soon. But if you are a good person, you don't have nothing to worry about, guys. Heaven is coming to the earth. Heaven is literally coming to the earth. That's great news. MJ says, so happy to be in this timeline. Oh, did I forget to mention that we are still on a positive timeline trajectory? I know I used to always open up my lives with that, and I kind of forget sometimes. But yeah, as a reminder, guys, we're still in the positive timeline trajectory. Thank you so much, Nathan Taylor, for your super chat. He says, will the 144,000 light workers be money distributors or like Terminator squads for Earth to fight bad ETs? Both, my friend. The 144,000, which is, again, it is a metaphor describing all the volunteers that are down here, right? All the starseed people. They're all going to be at the top when this new Earth is, when we are in full effect into the new Earth. The star people are going to be the ones that are going to be like the new leaders in the new Earth, okay? And so to answer your question is yes, all the light workers, those that are part of the 144,000, the army of Christ, will be the distributors, or at least the ones that are going to be receiving most of the wealth because they're going to have the biggest heart. And they're also going to be the terminating squads for the negative ETs in future generations. So not only are we going to be given control of our planet again from the Galactic Alliance, right? Space Force has now been delegated to be the interplanetary police force of not only the Earth, but our solar system, but the star seeds upon activating with their superhuman abilities, we're going to be on top. We're going to be in charge of Space Force, okay? Which is very, very cool. Very, very cool. Good question. Thank you, Ina Shapiro. Thank you so much for your zeal. I appreciate that. All right, this is another good question from Indigo Star Zeno. He's asking me, Ishmael, I was wondering what happens if humanity ascends. What's next? Do we keep doing the creation of multiverse again? Again, it never ends. Can we live in the lower realms? What happens to indigos type 3? Well, all indigos, crystals, wanderers, rainbow adults now, we are going to be heading on a upward trajectory beyond the 50 Earth. The 50 Earth, as we return back to the Terra Earth, which is dimensions 4, 5, and 6, we're also going to be continuing our ascension journey into the Gaia Earth, which is dimensions 7, 8, and 9. And ultimately, where we're heading into as we merge with our oversoul, right? Right now, we're just emerging with our galactic avatars, and then we're going to merge with our what is known as our Christed avatar, and then finally our monad. Our monad is the oversoul. Okay, that's the end game of our ascension. That's where we're all heading. So no, we're not just going to be stuck in the 5D Earth. We're going to continue moving up in dimensions, ultimately returning back to where we came from when you really think about it. Is Starcadian in the house? I don't think he's in the house today, right? I don't think so. Starcadian, are you in the house? Okay, Greg just told me that he's not in the house. Okay, so I thought he was in the house. So I don't know who's being my moderator, but somebody's being my moderator. I didn't assign anybody else to be my moderator, so I hope it's not the AI algorithm here. Because I know Diana77, her message was retracted. I don't know who's doing that. This is all happening on its own now. It's weird. Ishmael, what is the last thing you remote viewed? What a personal question. But again, because I am very transparent, I don't have nothing to hide. The last thing I remote viewed was 3i Atlas. And speaking of 3i Atlas, all right, despite of what other people are saying, 3i Atlas is not a bad thing. It was actually deployed by Nibiru, okay? Nibiru has been restored. Marduk, who was running the Anunnaki off-world and on planet Earth, has abdicated from the throne of Nibiru. So the first craft that they send was in 2017 as the Oumuamua, and now 3i Atlas is the second craft that they send. This is all in preparation. It's not just, assessing the situation by gathering data, right, as a cosmic, you could say, library, but it's also preparing the stage for the return of Nibiru. So that's the last thing I remote view was 3i Atlas. And from what I hear, it's already on its course, just past the rings of Saturn, about to enter pretty soon, or go through what is known as the asteroid belt. So if everything goes accordingly, 3i Atlas should be in proximity to the Earth or really close to the Earth by the end of September, perhaps early October now. That is the latest prognosis. If you guys want me to go deeper on 3i Atlas, because I know it's like the hottest topic right now, I think every podcaster and their mom is talking about it. I could probably do another presentation on it maybe on Saturday and explain more about, how it was launched from Sirius 30,000 years ago, by the way, the intelligences that were involved, what it contains, what it's made out of, its mission, why is it returning now, and its connections to planet Nibiru. So I could go into that a little bit more deeper, but I don't have time today, guys. Somebody says, yes, here, please do. Right. Sure. Why not? I also want to do a presentation on the Book of Q. Now, oh my God. I've been actually tapping into the Book of Q via remote viewing, and oh, the Book of Q, guys. I don't even know if I could do a presentation on the Book of Q, but it's all about the different probable timelines and the time travels and the temporal warfare due to time travel. The Book of Q is deep, all right? I want to do a whole presentation on the Book of Q, but I don't even know if I'm authorized yet to do so. I'm actually going to have to consult with Commander Valiant Thor to see if I could even do such a presentation, okay, without blowing it for the Alliance. Now, I do have another super chat from Nathan Taylor. Thank you so much, brother. He says, how many years does it take to go from 4D to 5D, etc.? That's a very good question. And how long does it take for God to make 17th D? And if you're not sure, how long to get to 15D? A lot of these questions, Nathan, are actually answered in my primary course, Our Cosmic Origin. I break down all the different dimensions, all the way from the 3D to the 15D in terms of carbon and the different genetic structures, intelligence apparatus, and levels of conscious attainment or spiritual advancements, rather. So a lot of these questions that you're asking me right now, I actually address in my course. But just to make it simple, okay? Because, under normal circumstances, it actually takes a collective, which is a planetary sphere, to go from 4D to 5D in a period of about 1,000 to 2,000 years, okay? That's under normal circumstances, right? They go from type 1 level interplanetary civilization to type 2 stellar. Now, if you're not unfamiliar with these terms, take my course, Our Cosmic Origin. To go to the 6D, or 7D or 8D, which is galactic level type 3, it takes about 20 to 30,000 years under normal circumstances. But because we are living in a different time where for the first time an entire planet is about to ascend, It's going to be overnight. All right. We're going to go from 4D to 5D, or 3D to 5D rather, or 40, 3D to 40 to 5D, depending on where your frequency is overnight. It's not going to take a couple thousand years. And a lot of that has to do because of the times that we're living in, because for the first time in the history of our universe, our entire planet is ascending, all right, into the 5D. For those that are ready and resonating with those frequencies, you will be getting a free ride. And then the second part of your question, how long does it take for God to make the 17th D? All right. The 17th D, which goes beyond the 15-dimensional time matrix, is already being created because of the fact that we are now ending what is known as a cosmic cycle. Again, if you are unfamiliar with these cosmic cycles, a cosmic cycle consists of 950 billion years, which is from the pivotal moment point where the God source expanded itself through the process of involution, descent. Right now we are ascending. That is the opposite of involution. Now we are evolving back or ascending back into wholeness. Because of that, because we are ending the cosmic cycle of 998 billion years, dimensions 17, 16, 17, and 18 are currently being developed. All right. So, and then the third part of your question is, I am not sure how long to get to 15D. Okay, well, put it this way. If you guys decided to participate and volunteer to descend from the central universe, which is the eternal realms, dimensions 13, 14, and 15, then likely you're going to be activated on all levels of reality upon the Earth's ascension, meaning that when the Earth triggers, right, the Earth goes into the ascension mode, you're going to have access to all 15 dimensions. You're going to have access to all the Earths, not just the 5D Earth, the 8D Earth, the 12D, and the 15D Earth. That's what that means. So if you volunteered from the 13th dimension, right, if you descended all the way down to incarnate into human form, which again, a small chunk of the starseed envoys are from the 13th, 14th, and 15th levels of reality, which is eternity, right, beyond the simulations, then chances are is that you're going to be integrating all of those dimensions while operating in a human avatar. That means you're going to be very powerful, okay? That's what that means. My God, you guys are asking some deep questions tonight. You guys are really making me use my brain.
I think God is in the 222nd dimension.
All right, let's continue here. So, I guess that was it. Thank you so much for the super chat. I see Sylvia Vidal. Thank you for your super chat. She says, Ishmael, if one hasn't detoxed their body from toxins, by the time the first solar flash hits from 1 to 10, how much will we feel pain? Okay, I'm just going to let you guys in on a little secret. If you guys are living right, if you guys are doing the spiritual work, right? Taming the ego, working with the shadow, you could say clearing your wounds, both ancestrally and in the presence and all your incarnations. Chances are is that due to your high frequency, you're going to be experiencing a smooth ascension. However, if you're not doing the spiritual work and you're still eating fast food and you're still putting toxins in your body and you have that in you, right, because you're a course to keep your job or whatever, it's going to be very painful to transition into the new earth because of all those metals in your body. All those toxins are going to be, it creates density. All right. The whole purpose of becoming a homo luminous, right, which is what we're going to be becoming when we become light body, is to clear all of those dense things that are holding you down. The whole process of that is to see how much light you're able to hold on a cellular level. All right, that's what that means, because when the solar flash takes place, you realize that every cell in your body is going to be, it's going to be lit up like light. And if you are not eating right, if you're taking, alcohol and drugs, right, it's going to be very hard. If you're putting contaminants in your body, if you're eating fast food, it's going to be very hard. You're still going to ascend, but it's going to be painful because all those things eventually have to purge out of your body. Capiche? All right, cool. Let's continue. See, I'm happy tonight, guys. After hearing the great news, I am so happy that I decided to extend the live a little longer than normal. We're almost at the 2-hour mark, so I will go ahead and take a few more questions. Chocolate chip cookie, okay? Yes. Even when it comes to sugar, guys, moderation is the key. Even when it comes to wine, moderation is the key. Have one glass of wine, right? Don't drink a whole bottle of wine. That's the difference. Thank you so much, Nathan Taylor, for your super chat. He says, so if God is in the 222 dimension, when are the others going to be created? And how long can we expect for the rest to be created after the 16th, 17th, and 18th?
That's up to the councils. That's up to the higher councils, like the Council of Five.
You guys are asking some questions that you guys are really, really making me want to, use my noggin here. Okay, so the best way to answer that question. Okay. Because all time is happening all the time. The best way to answer that. How can I answer that? Okay, when we end a cosmic cycle, new multiverses are being born, right? There are going to be, you could say, pockets of different metaverses or multiverses in the cosmic future. It hasn't happened in our reality yet, but deep in the cosmic future, as new multiverses sprung into existence, as there's going to be this thing called the megaverse. The megaverse, which already exists perhaps billions of years from now, already contains dimensions beyond the 16, 17, and 18, okay? Because of the fact that the multiverse as a omniverse is also expanding and giving birth to other multiverses. So deep into the cosmic future, all these different multiverses are going to be under the umbrella of what is going to be known then as the megaverse. The megaverse exists in 222 dimensions, which is going to contain all the different multiverses, all the different circles of multiverses. This is, again, a lot of this information, guys, is way beyond anybody's normal comprehension, okay? In fact, I talk about the megaverse in my unpublished book that I'm still writing. I go deep into the future. So some of you guys are asking me, Mika, I don't know, Mika, if you're a mind reader, but you're asking me some questions that I actually answer in great detail in my unpublished book that I'm not going to release for another 6 months or so or more. So these are some questions that, again, it's very hard for me to explain right now, but it's in the making, guys, because these are all important questions, okay? Very good question. Nathan, that was a question from Nathan Taylor. Thank you so much for that very advanced question. So yes, because all time is happening all the time, we could say that the megaverse, right, that oversees different branches of multiverses consisting of 222 dimensions altogether, already exists concurrently with our current cycle, which is only the completion of the first outer space level as the motherverse expands one outer space level at a time. So we're talking about levels of expansion in terms of the motherverse expanding into different outer space levels and also producing new baby multiverses, each expanding in its own way. We're talking about billions of years from now, guys. But again, it's already taking place, right? Because it's all happening at once. You guys are really, really picking my brain today. Thank you so much, Tom Day. I appreciate that donation, brother. Thank you. Thank you. I do have another super chat from Nathan Taylor. Thank you so much, Nathan Taylor, for all your super chats and for asking really advanced questions. I know there might be some people that are like, all right, I don't even know what Ishmael's talking about. But again, start with the secret government and then our cosmic origin. And then when the third book comes out sometime next year, that'll make better sense to you guys. All right, Nathan's third question is, how does one become a member of the Council of 5 or 12, also known as the Council of 13? Nathan, I can tell you this right now, my friend. You are part of the Council of 12 or 13, as we are now entering the 13th creation, okay? I didn't realize that you were going to be on my live chat today, but you're asking questions from the level of intelligence of an Elohim, which is dimensions 10, 11, and 12. What does that mean? Is that we have a member of the Council of 12. So even though a part of your consciousness is incarnated in human form, a lot of us are still operating in these other dimensions that are partaking in these councils. So a lot of the star seeds that have been incarnating since the 1940s and 50s to the present are operating on multiple layers of reality. We're not just in this human avatar. We're also in other avatars, okay? So that means that a lot of us are already members of these councils. We just don't remember, right? There is this thing called the veil of forgetfulness that happened when we incarnate into these human avatars. But upon the ascension, which is what I call multidimensional integration, right? Collapsing all these different versions, boom, into the here and the now, all of those memories are going to be coming back. Okay, so a lot of you guys, believe it or not, you're part of the Council of 5, you're part of the Council of 9, you're part of the Council of 13. You just don't remember yet. And you guys all took oaths to the Emerald Order. All right, a few more questions. I heard that Starcadian is in the house. Thank you for being here, brother. After all, I decided to extend the live because consciously I knew that you were going to be jumping on soon. Thank you for posting my website. Thank you. I appreciate that, Sarkadian.
You want to know who's Kim Gogan?
I don't know her personally. I've heard of her. You know, I've known of her for a couple of years. Somebody's asking me who is Kim Gogan. I don't know, but for what I do know, based on what I've heard, is that she claims to be the sole guardian of the earth. That's what I heard. So that is not correct. Anybody that claims to be the sole guardian of the earth, right, is playing a messiah figure role. And I've never really believed in that, right? It is about councils. It is about group work. It is about team effort, all right? According to the prophecies indicated that many that are part of the army of light, right, 144,000, the representatives of Christ, will be incarnated. Many, not just one person. So that's what I've always believed in. Thank you, Lisa Ross, sister. She says, fantastic work, Ishmael. You are so welcome, sister. When we ascend, this is another good question from Infinite Healing Waters. They want to know, when we ascend to 5D and we continue ascending, there's a possibility that we might start being immortal. Well, the fact that okay, if you go to 5D, you're going to live, your lifespan's going to increase for a few thousand years. So that's somewhat immortality. 6D, you're going to live for 30 to 50,000 years. 7D, so each time you ascend into a higher frequency, higher dimension, your lifespan increases in your whatever avatar you're using in that dimension, right? Once you hit the 7th and 8th dimension, then you just become immortalized, right? You become hydroplasmic. At that point, you're able to materialize physical form and then dematerialize at will. No, I'm sorry. I believe that is the 10th dimension. My bad. Okay, because even in the 7, 8, and 9 dimensions, we're still using a form of etheric matter, which is what they called silica-based DNA. So there is a level beyond crystalline. Crystalline is after carbon. Then comes silica, which is what they call etheric matter. And then comes hydroplasma, which is 10th, 11th, and 12th dimension. Again, guys, take my cosmic origin course. I break everything down. So yeah. So the higher you ascend, the higher the dimension you go into, the more immortal you become. That is correct. Maybe time for one more question. I'm getting hungry again.
Okay, about these cities, the 19 states that the 1,700 National Guard are being deployed to, do you feel like they're being deployed to states that have underground trafficking tunnels?
Yeah, Chicago was the main hub after DC. That's why Chicago's next. And then after Chicago, I hear it New York, LA.
Today, in Houston, Texas, there's Black Hawk military helicopters over it. So it's already in Houston, in Boston, in Chicago, and in Washington, D.C.
Did you guys hear that? Black Hawk helicopters. The Alliance is also penetrating Houston, Boston, Washington D.C. Well, it started with Washington, D.C. and Chicago. Yeah, I talked about that today. All right, so I do have a super chat by Mika Krikovich, I think. I know this is a random question, she says, but do the numbers 1113, 614, or 471 have any significance? I've never heard of those numbers. I typically hear 1111, 222, 444, but I've never heard of 1113, 614, 471. Maybe they have, maybe they're significant to you.
So there's a website that's really good that I look up the angel numbers and what they mean. So to find that out, you would just go to type in that number and then type in angel numbers meaning. And I think the website that's really good is Joan something, I believe.
So there is a website that you could type in to look into this. What numbers? Angel numbers. If you go to this website or you go to your browser and you type in angel numbers or the meaning of angel numbers, it'll give you all the different numbers.
Okay, and the website is Sacred Scribes.
Oh, there's a name to the website.
Sacred Scribes, Angel Numbers, and it's Angel Numbers by Joanne Sacred Scribes. So you just put whatever number you just asked about in, put in Angel Numbers, Joanne Sacred Scribes, and you'll find the best meaning of it.
Did you guys hear that? There you go. Sacred Scribes. That's true. All right. Do you have to die before moving into the next dimension? This is a question from Sharon Alexander. And the answer to that is no, not at all. And the beauty of living in today's times is that if you ascend with the planet, you won't be tasting death. Your bodies are literally going to be transfigured like the Enoch character in the Old Testament who walked with God. Okay, so we're literally going to be going from carbon-based genetics to about 50% crystalline genetics or crystalline-based genetics with a little bit of carbon still. Our bodies are going to be less dense, but yet they're still going to be physical, and you will have a longer lifespan. What's up?
The last thing is a couple people have been asking on the chat where to purchase XRP. There's 2 apps that I recommend. One is Lobster app. LOBSTR, and another one is crypto.com. But crypto is a little bit better because you can actually make a debit card and transfer funds from your XLM XRP wallet into digital tokens that could be traded and put into a debit card that you could start spending. Those are the ones I trust. Start with at least $30. Have something.
I have another super chat from Canadian Jedi. What do I hear music in my head? Why do I hear music in my head? He's asking. Like North American Indian chants, like drums and other music. Oh, that means your higher senses are actually opening up. That's actually a good thing, especially if it's like Indian chants, Native American, because remember, they were very spiritual people. Drums or other music. To me, that means that your higher senses beyond the five senses are beginning to open up, and you're beginning to merge with that aspect of yourself that is still part of that tribe. Who knows, guys? But it sounds like it's a good sign. I think we're done. Yeah, I've been broadcasting for 2 hours.
They're never done learning, honey. They always want to learn. Good job, guys.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of knowledge, is that it never ends. The more you learn, the more you want to learn, right?
Knowledge is light.
Yeah, knowledge is light.
Consciousness.
The more knowledge we have, the more light we are, right? The more we expand. All right, guys. I will see you guys in 2 more nights on Wednesday. May the God Force be with you all. I hope you guys all have beautiful dreams tonight. And I will see you guys in 2 nights.
Thank you.